So Moses Itauma makes his return to the ring against Jermaine Franklin this weekend in Manchester on the Queensberry card. Now, of course, Moses Itauma's last fight, he was in there against Dillian Whyte, smoked him in a round, and has got a ton of media hype behind him in terms of the heavyweight division because he's young, English, and he's knocking dudes out. He's putting beatings on dudes, and he's doing it quickly too. I think he said his total pro career to date has only gone like 7 minutes in the ring, or like nearly 8 minutes in the ring, which is insane. That's an insane level of power, an insane finishing rate. And he's had, I think what is he like 13-0? No, maybe not 13-0, but like come on, to not be fighting, for your fight's not going that long at this point in your career, like, come on, you're doing something right. And like, he fought Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte is definitely way far past removed his prime. Does that even make sense? Way far removed from his prime. Nowhere near prime Dillian Whyte anymore. Dillian Whyte really had no chance in that fight. And I said this at the time, he really had no chance unless he could just take the shots. And past his prime, Dillian Whyte can't take the shots. It's going to be interesting if we can see someone who can weather the storm of Moses Itauma. Jermaine Franklin's not that guy. Now, Moses Itauma is probably slightly bigger than Jermaine Franklin, and Jermaine Franklin himself isn't a good enough boxer to box on the outside, meaning he's going to be forced to operate in the mid to close range, and he's going to have to close that distance. And Moses himself is also one to operate in that mid-range and just take you out. We've seen what guys do when they, either can't fight on the outside range, long range, or B, are forced to close the range on Moses Itauma. We've seen what Moses does to these guys. He takes their fucking heads off. And I don't think it'd be any different for Jermaine Franklin. Now, sure, Jermaine Franklin's not as far removed from his prime as Dillian Whyte. He probably has still got some more in the tank there. He's not taking as much damage as Dillian Whyte, not been through the wars. But still, it almost doesn't even matter because Moses is just going to be that much faster, that much stronger, that much more powerful. I've really struggled to see Jermaine Franklin having much of a chance against Moses. Maybe he can weather the storm early on, because we don't know what Moses is like when he gets into a fight. As in, if he's in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th round, we've just not seen it. Now, he looks calm, he looks composed, he looks like he's got great boxing fundamentals. So I would be really shocked if he got to, say, the 5th round and really fell off a cliff. I would be shocked. But we don't know until it happens. Granted, even if Moses was gassed by the time he got to the 5th round, the amount of energy he would have exerted and probably likely the beating he would have put on Jermaine Franklin within those first 4 rounds. Jermaine Franklin himself is probably going to be in a pretty bad position himself. So that's something else to consider as well. But I do think this will be a relatively routine win for Moses Itauma. Will it be as quick as the other ones? Who's to tell? But I really struggled to see Jermaine Franklin being able to weather the storm and being able to take the shots that Moses is going to be dishing out, because the shots he's landing on dudes, these are big, heavy, clean shots that are shots good enough to knock out anyone. And Moses is knocking out anyone. And he's knocked out a lot of guys he's fought so far. Jermaine Franklin's probably the toughest test, but I still favour Moses to run through him pretty easily. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Moses will win this? Or do you think there's potential for Jermaine Franklin upset? Let me know in the comments below. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.